Welcome to Rafa Said It Here, a show about everything and anything that happens in our lives that impacts our mind, body, and spirit. I am so glad that you're joining us today. Welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rafa Said It Here. My name is Rafaela Silva, and I'm very excited that you're joining me again for this episode of my podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, make sure you hit the follow button or the subscribe. Whichever platform you're listening from, just make sure you hit the notification so that you can get notified of the latest episode. As always, I like to jump right in. So today we're going to be talking about prayer. What is prayer? Why does prayer even exist? We're not going to be talking about forms of prayer. Okay, I think that's, to me, it's your own individual process. I might do another episode. Oh, excuse me, you guys. I might do another episode on forms of prayer that I might know that I think you guys might like. But today I just want to talk about what is prayer and why do we pray? Why do we feel this need to pray, and what I believe prayer brings? What I believe prayer is for? Okay. So what is prayer? Now that means different things for different people. For some people, prayer could be a conversation with God. For others, a communication to their higher self. The ways that people pray, again, there's no wrong way of prayer. People find their own individual comfort level, how they communicate with what they believe is a force higher than themselves, or a force that is outside of themselves, or even within themselves. So whichever way, okay, you find what prayer is to you, or how you communicate, it's your own individual experience, your own individual journey and process. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about today, what I believe what is the need for prayer? Why do we pray? And hopefully that resonates with some of you, or maybe shed some light in even on the process of how you pray. Again, nothing against how you do it, but maybe something you can add on to your prayer life. But before we talk about that, I wanted to go over the definition of prayer. So this is the etymology of the word prayer. Okay, etymology is the origin of the word. So this word came out in the 13th century, and it comes from the word "praere," which I believe is Latin, and in its origin, and it means earnest request, entreaty, petition. Also, the practice of praying or of communing with God. It also comes from the Old French "prière," prayer, petition, request. Okay, so it looks like it's not. Yeah, so it's a Latin word. But it's also French in origin, from the word prière, which means to petition, to request for something. And I think a lot of us do understand that form of prayer. That I think a lot of us live with that definition of prayer. We use prayer to ask God for something, or ask the higher self for something, for direction, for an open door, for whatever it is that you're making a request. A lot of us sometimes connect prayer with request. And so as I begin to think about this idea of prayer, and of course, as many of you know, for those that follow me for a while, I do believe in reincarnation. And so when I began to think about prayer, and it made me think about a quote that I think a lot of us might know, or might have said it at one point, saying that prayer changes things, right? And when I thought about that, the concept of prayer changing things, it made me think about, well, that sounds a little interesting, because if I made an agreement to come to this earth, to do what I'm doing, to go through what I'm going through, to deal with what I'm dealing with, why am I praying for something to change when I have agreed to be here, that I have agreed to walk this path? And so what I got from my higher self was, Rafaela, your prayer is not so much to change things, although you can make requests for certain things, but prayer is for something different, not for you to come to beg to ask. One of my biggest prayers that I would do all the time. Oh, please open these doors, open these doors, and and it was kind of funny because every time I'll ask, open these doors, open the door. I made the door open doors for this. And a lot of people say, oh, if a door closes out, a window opens. And sometimes we think that, but us praying, we're somehow, like the original word says, begging, earnest request. And there's a terminology here that says also, where is it? It says begging for something, like, please give this to me. And it's like, oh, okay, well, you begged enough, so let me go ahead and give it to you. Some people might even look at that saying, what is it? Be careful what you ask for, you might receive it, right? And so, but not if, the fact that in my belief system, if we're here, we have a soul contract, we have already an agreement to live out what we're living out. Why are we begging for something that is already ours? It made me think about, why am I begging for something that is already ours? Why am I requesting or thinking that somehow if I pray enough, it's going to change something, right? So what came to me as I began to think about that was, prayer doesn't change the meaning. Like if you beg enough, or if you ask enough, it changes something. Now, although you can request that some things, or maybe the timeline that you're in, like I want to go to a different timeline, right? I'm ready to go. Again, also keeping in mind that whatever timeline that you're asking to switch to, that timeline is also part of the process. So you're not transforming anything that you already that you already didn't set in place. Okay. So the idea of prayer changing things was something like, wait a minute, I don't think that's it. I don't think that we're here to beg and to, oh my God, please do X, Y, Z. And so what came to me was four things. Prayer removes obstacles, it guides, it sustains, and it connects. So prayer is not a tool a begging tool, or a convincing tool, or a tool that somehow if you do it over and over and over and over again, somehow God is going to say, all right, girl, you're getting on my nerves. Let me go ahead and give this to you. Okay. So what came to me was, everything that belongs to you is already yours. Just as in the garden, the resources were available to Adam and Eve, right, before their arrival, everything. So what is the need for prayer if we know, again, that all of our desires, when aligned with our purpose, right, we're here for a purpose, we have the soul contract, are certain to come to pass, whether it be in this life or another life. Sometimes whatever we agree to for our soul evolution might not be done in one sitting. You might still be gearing yourself up for the next life. Okay. So let's start with obstacles. So prayer removes obstacles. So let's say you're here to discover, your purpose is to discover self-love, right? So, or let me use that example for something else. Let's just say that one of the things that you're here to do is to become a writer. Let's use that one. And so, but then all of a sudden there's this fear, there's this, I like to call it, what do you call it? There's this idea that you don't feel like you're good enough to be a writer. Imposter syndrome, that's the word. Maybe you're dealing with imposter syndrome, right? So sometimes when you begin to pray, you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to write. I really want to do X, Y, Z, but you can't seem to find the courage to move forward or to take that first step. Okay. So prayer removes whatever obstacles might be in the way of us progressing, of us taking that next step in our lives. And it could be doubt. It could also be fear, limiting beliefs, anything that could be hindering that progress. Okay. So prayer removes those obstacles. It allows you to see what could be in the way of you leaving from this spot to this spot. Okay. The second thing is that prayer does, it guides. Sometimes we may say, okay, which direction should I go? Should I go left? Should I go right? In other words, whether either direction, there's none that will go wrong, because whatever direction you take is the direction that you're supposed to take. but sometimes we might not know, and our guides, a higher self, will be able to guide us in the direction that we need to go. Okay. Prayer sustains when it gets heavy, when life becomes challenging. It sustains us. It holds us. Okay. It comforts us. It allows us to say, okay, just hold on. You're almost there. You're getting close, or I got you. Okay. Everything's going to be okay. So prayer has the ability to sustain us as we go, as we go on our journey, as we take those steps, towards our journey. And prayer connects. Okay, it establishes a relationship with the Creator, with your higher self, and your guides, your ancestors, whoever has been assigned for you in the fourth dimension, to make sure that what it is that you're here to do, make sure that you get it done. And so when that came to me, it did two things, and I hope that it also resonates with you in this particular space. It gave me a sense of relief, knowing that, okay, what I've been given, the gifts, the ideas, whatever, the desires, whatever it is that's close to my heart, that at some point I'm going to get there. Now, it's going to take something sometimes, some challenges, some obstacles, some cloudiness, okay? But knowing that as I pray, as I connect with the Creator, with my higher self, with my guides, with my ancestors, that what I'm going to get as I pray is, sustainability, is guidance, is clarity. Okay. So, not to mention, it allows for this process to be much different than being in this thing of like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know whether it just says, you know what, this is the direction that I need to be going. This one needs to be happening, whether I like it, doesn't feel good or not. It's just how it's been aligned, how it's been designed for me, for your soul, for your evolution. Okay. So remember, when you pray, whichever form you decide to pray, there's no right or wrong ways to pray. You don't have to ask God to or beg God to change something or to do something. But what is important, and I find it a way to connect, is ask for wisdom, ask for discernment, and ask for understanding, so that, one, any obstacles that might be on the way of you attaining or achieving what it is that you came to do can be removed, so that you can be guided onto the next step. What is the next chapter? What is the next thing? If you're going through a challenging time, prayer will sustain, will comfort you, will hold you through this challenging time. And of course, prayer connects and establish a relationship with the Creator, with your higher self, and with your guides and ancestors. Okay, you guys, thank you for joining me. Make sure that you, again, like I said in the beginning, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, any comments, please let me know below, or you can send me a DM on Instagram at I am Rafaela Silva. That's I and letter M, Rafaela Silva. Okay. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.